So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what we're doing in MetLife as part of our transformation. So MetLife, I am now 6 months in MetLife, and at 6 months in insurance. It probably makes me the newbie in the room, I'm guessing, by multiples. I come from banking, so banking and brokerage, 18 years total in that before. And it's interesting stepping into insurance, and it's actually, we were joking around, it's actually stepping back about 12 years. So if I could find my run book from 12 years ago of what we did, we could probably start playing it out. Now with that said, that's not our goal. And what we're doing in MetLife is a little bit different. So we've been in business 145 years. This is the goal that we set forward, which is to leapfrog the industry. So instead of playing catch up for the next 12 years, doing things like probably enterprise entitlement management and other things which we've talked about, and things, know your customer and customer centricity. These are all the buzzwords I heard about 7 years ago, and we executed and delivered on for Citibank. So what we're going to do today is a little bit interesting. So, we're a new team in MetLife, and the best part was visiting, some of my developers around the country and the globe, and just they feel like it's a new company. And there's a lot of bold moves we're taking, which we're going to share here today, of how we're going to do it. So the real part here is the how we're going to leapfrog. So one thing we've done is, and this is public knowledge, is we've committed to taking out $450 million of savings from operations and technology. So it's a large number. There's a lot of opportunities. And my boss, Marty Lippert, who's head of operations and technology and procurement and vendor management, he's driving this very hard. And we've identified and actually reaching where we need to be here. But the best part about this is, because I've lived through Citi for 5 years, and I know this game, right? So this is something we've done in the past, and we're very good at. The best part about this is his commitment and agreement from the board is he gets to reinvest 2/3 back. So, that's a $300 million investment fund of figuring out where do we need to bring the company. So we understand where our business is going, we know their goals, and we're going to hit that. That's BAU. We know where to keep the lights on. We're good at that. But where are we actually going to make a huge difference and leapfrog ahead? And here we have the financial aspect of it. We also came up with a pretty unique strategy. So around making it happen, we have foundational jumps. So we're going to fix some basics. This is system stability. This is talent. So one thing I did accomplish in a short time here was I now have a SWAT team of industry experts who are the best I've ever met in what they do. And a 4-person SWAT team is making an entire impact right now across the board and showing that you could take someone that never knew insurance, drop them in, and actually fix a system that's been chronically broken for 7 years. And fix it in about 2 days of time and deploy it in about 2 weeks. So we're showing we could do things a little bit different here. Foundation is going to include things like Enterprise Service Bus, which we've been doing, but we're going to really make it a religion and a belief. The next thing we're going to do is operational efficiencies. So automation, straight through processing, eliminate it. Don't move it, but eliminate it. And this is something which we are very good at. This is something we're going to get better at. As a global company, I have the technology groups I own are the business systems teams. So all the business apps globally are under my team. I also have ops for EMEA and APAC. And we're looking at this and we're saying, we own ops, let's actually make it the best we can. Show how IT and ops integrated together is the best solution. Show what we could do in this space. And the next thing is actually something we call 2.0. So it's not Web 2.0, it's not social, it's not that keyword. We call it 2.0 because what we've discovered in insurance is everyone's very good at 1.0, which is phase 1. And they're just not good when it actually hits the roadblock to actually get past it. So they start another phase 1. And I'm sure, in the room, I'm hearing the laughter, but, that's common. So the phrase that we heard was, we never get to phase 2. So we're going to start there. And Platforms 2.0 is a core capability we're going to deploy globally. And MetLife has additional complexities. We have group medical, we have group business in the US is the biggest. We've got retail, we've got direct marketing, we've got agents, we've got indirect agents. We've got everything you could imagine. And our goal here is to say, what's common among all of those things? And to start looking at things differently. There won't be any Swiss Army knife approaches. So bringing in a vendor product and saying it does everything is the one thing we've scratched off the list. So we are taking some unique approaches here. We're looking at some core capabilities. We've already made purchases the end of last year to enable this. And this is saying where are we going to bring MetLife in the future? So where are we actually going to move the platforms to? And then the final box is what I'm talking about today. So there's some cool stuff in the industry. So big data and insurance. I'm sure everyone hears that all the time. A few months back, we set down a road to say, we know how to do it. And today I'm actually going to walk through a demo for you of a live system, which is pre-pride, which means it's almost live. And it will be live the end of this month. And it's actually exhibiting what we believe is going to be the future. And it's an example of what we could do quickly. So with that said, there's a few announcements. So last week, there was a major announcement done by MetLife in the news. I'm not sure if everyone saw that, but the announcement was we're going to be building a global development center in Raleigh, North Carolina. And what that means is it means moving 2,600 jobs out of the Northeast and into Raleigh. And it's a bold move. It's basically saying, where do we want to have a hub? We have lots of developers all over the place. Let's create a hub in the US for that. We want it as a center of excellence in what we're doing. It'll create close collaboration amongst the team members and the businesses. And most importantly, we're going to have a very unique hiring process. So it's going to be one of those processes which, you know, everyone wants to work at Google, but they really want to just interview there to see if they could get it, right? So that's kind of what we're going to be doing is we're going to basically be bringing the best and brightest and do it in a way where we're sure they are and keep that going. The approach will enable us to bring the technology, business, and customers together into one MetLife, which is our CEO's goal. You've heard about this throughout the presentation so far. So customer focus, customer centricity. You know, you could talk about it, but technology actually has to enable it. So that's a core component that we are responsible to do. And you have to use technology to tell the human story. The engagement methods are definitely changing. So in 3 years, and this was an IBM study, which is 3 years from now, they're predicting face-to-face is going down, websites is jumping up, social is going up from 4% to 51%. I'm not sure if anyone really knows what that means from insurance, how to actually get that 47% difference there and start thinking about that. So this is areas where MetLife is focusing, and that's part of that emerging technology bubble. If we continue, we're going to go from a product focus to a customer focus. So literally tailoring the products to the customer needs, understanding the customer, who they are. In our case, it's not as simple as just a one-line insurance, right? So you could literally have someone that has group insurance that doesn't even know they're a customer of MetLife because their employer signed them up, yet they also have an auto and home policy through retail. And our goal is to create that composite view, basically saying, what is that customer and how do we reach them and best serve them? So with that said, what I'm going to introduce to you now is actually called The Wall. It was a nickname we gave it when we started this project. This was something started the first week I joined the company, and within 2 weeks we had a working prototype. It shows you how we could actually move. So my peer runs all infrastructure, architecture, and engineering, and he had us up and running in servers in 5 days. Not VMs, but for servers, what typically could take 30 to 60 days or more. The Wall is using some pretty new technology. So it wouldn't be a technology presentation without an architecture diagram at the end, which I do have. But the Wall is basically a simple concept. So 1 billion people use Facebook. When we were in Mexico City 2 weeks ago, we heard 9 out of 10 people in Mexico City use Facebook, 90% of the population. So the Wall was basically a concept to say, let's see what we could do. Let's see if we could create a wall, which is in Facebook's terms where the postings are and you see your friend had dinner or like what they had or not. Let's see if we could create the same concept to create a view of a customer, where in the wall, as you'll see here, we could see Stephanie is a customer of ours. She has a life policy. It's a universal life. And you could literally see the transactions as we go through this. So you'd actually see step by step what's happening with the transactions. So with that said, let's actually see if we could switch to it and show you a little bit more. I kind of knew that would happen. It's not the blue screen of death like in, but it's. Sorry, just 1 second. They almost have it perfect, believe me. And we're good. So with the wall, let's just close that. Okay. So the walls concept and what you're seeing here is actually pre-production. So this is in QA testing right now. The target date we're launching this is March 31st in the US call centers. And the walls concept is pretty simple. You could find a customer. So I could search for a customer by any single attribute I could imagine. So in today's world, we identify customers by policies. So what we've done is we've basically built a bridge between the two. And something like this, which is pretty simple, let's just actually search for, sorry, this isn't going to work like that. Let's shut this off now. There we go. So something like Mary Combe is not a real customer, of course, for my demo. And if I search, immediately I got back 2 results. I could see there's 2 policies Mary holds with us, same address. And if I click, I could literally see the policy details. And this is actually live, so the speed you're seeing here is what the system is. And I could see in a wall format every single transaction that occurred for Mary. So I could see the correspondence and actually view those documents. And I'll be able to scroll down and actually see that she had some customer queries, she had some call centers, she called the IVR, and I could see the status of each of these as well. I could also see that Mary also has 2 policies. So she has an annuity with us. If I click that, you could jump right to the annuity and see the details there. So this is big data. This is one of the vendors here is actually Tengen. I'm hoping people have sat with them. This was something which I looked at in a past life, and it's one of the solutions for this, and it's a solution we partnered with them and others on to say, how do we make this happen? And it's a component of that. And if I show you what it could be, so if this is the call center view, imagine this is in the hands of the customer. So Baker Faith is a group customer, works at my former employer here, and Baker logs onto his own wall. And literally what he could see is that he has a long-term disability claim waiting for medical information. He could collapse that, scroll down. He could see his dental claim, which he faxed in. He could see the exact status of where it is. And it was paid on that date. Of course, you could do cross-sell, upsell, and everything else along with it to the customer. So we identified the customer. We understand the customer and the needs. If I switch back, so this is what we built. So there's 45 million agreements, 90 million correspondence, and 50 million workflow events that are occurring real time. So basically, as something happens for a customer, the wall's updated real time, exactly as a Facebook post would be for a customer at home when you're checking your status. This is simply US, and this isn't all of US yet. And what we've done is we've started to expand this across the regions and roll this out. Now, what's most important here is what you just saw was built in 3 months, beginning to end. Right? From start to production is 3 months. From hardware, commodity hardware done differently than you've ever seen before. We basically had to say no SAN, commodity hardware, let's go. And basically, it shows you what you could do. Now, what's interesting is, what did this do? It created what I call a catalyst. And I visited a development center recently, and one of my developers used the word infectious, in a good way, not a bad way. And infectious in the sense that it's actually kind of exciting to see these things around them, and they actually latched onto it and started to do things themselves differently. So what does that mean? Well, sorry, I'm going to come back to that. In Japan, we actually had a team that parallel to us, without us even knowing, used the exact same approach, same technology, same customer database, and combined it with SAS analytics to create predictive models. So attrition models, where I could see here the percent of chance of a person leaving MetLife as a customer in Japan. They brought in 30 years of data for Japan into the database. So every single policy since inception was brought in. Similar, there was another wall suddenly popped up called the research wall. And guess what? This will be launched exactly on the same date, March 31st. And it's for the life claims group to be able to look up a client and actually answer the questions. So, so with that said, how difficult was this? If I just show you a little bit here, I'm going to exit out and see if I could zoom in. So MetLife is, like everyone else, has lots of legacy systems. Okay, lots and lots. This wall represents 60 or so, or 60 to 70 different retail and group systems combined together that literally had to work in a new model to feed us. We had to integrate with our call center application. We had to build an entirely new application interface for it. And of course, you'll see we used a big data approach for MongoDB here. So this is what you're seeing was built in 3 months, which shows what we can do. Now, there's another project we have going on at the same time, which just got patent pending, and it's going to do another leapfrog. We're going to try to hit that social piece. Let's see what we could do. But you know, it's a very interesting approach. It basically creates a front end on top of all the legacy systems, allows us to fix the legacy systems at our pace, as opposed to actually exposing green screens to customers or green screens to our claims operators. And the efficiencies you could imagine. So one of the common calls that comes in a call center is landing in the wrong place. So now we could actually know the customer, we can know the products, and we could direct them to the right place, which is a new ability that we now created.